Welcome back to the program. So it is almost 2026, and that means that there's going to be quite a few new wrinkles for the tax code due to the One Big Beautiful Bill. So, what I want to do in this segment is I want to talk a little bit about some of those things. Okay? So, first and foremost, several new tax breaks were signed into law by President Donald Trump and the Republicans for the One Big Beautiful Bill. And there are a few different things that we need to discuss. So, for instance, Trump's proposal of no tax on tips and overtime is sure to provide economic relief. The maximum deduction for tips is now $25,000. Now, that's a pretty considerable amount because think about how many people are waiters and waitresses, work in restaurants, work in the food industry, work in different things where they get tips, whether it be valet parking, wherever it might be, right? Well, now you can write off up to $25,000. So you're not going to pay taxes on the first $25,000. Now, I don't know how much people make in tips. I would imagine if you're at a really nice restaurant and it's a 5-star restaurant, you're probably making pretty good money, maybe $100,000 a year. I don't know. But it's not really kind of catered for that. It's more for the folks that are working, in the local restaurants, the local steakhouses, the local seafood places, whatever. Maybe even in fast food. I don't know. Not really, because you don't really tip fast food people. But it's for the lower to middle class. Let's say they make $42,000 or $47,000 in a year. Well, they're only going to be taxed on the remainder of the 25. So I don't know, do the math, whatever that is. It's not much. $19,000, $18,000, $17,000, whatever it is what they'll be taxed on. The other 25% they'll be able to write off. That is absolutely huge. Absolutely huge. And you know what? It should really help out in the midterm elections. Now, the other one is for overtime. Now, with overtime, it's not as good as, it would be for tips. A lot of people that work overtime, they make a lot more money than you would get in the service industry making tips. Whatever that job may be. If it's a 40-hour work week, and if you work 52, you've got an extra 12 hours, right? Well, it does say here that the maximum deduction for overtime will be $12,500. So it's not $50,000 or $100,000 or anything like that. So I think that really helps for the smaller worker, the one that works at the grocery store, the one that works at a Walmart or a Target or whatever. So this bill was really designed for lower income people, and some of these tax brackets and these tax programs are clearly showing exactly that. Then it says that will be very popular with middle class earners, nurses, trade workers, service industry employees, and others whose votes are crucial to Republican success in the midterms with more money in their pockets. Another important voting bloc is seniors over the age of 65, especially those who are in need of financial assistance. They are also set to benefit from the new deductions. Effective for 2026, individuals who are over the age of 65 and older may claim an additional deduction of $6,000 per the IRS website. This new deduction is in addition to, not taking away from, in addition to the current additional standard deduction for seniors under the existing law. So obviously for seniors that are on a fixed income, maybe they're retired, maybe they get a pension, and plus they get their Social Security or whatever it may be, typically there's a COLA, right? A cost of living adjustment, where they give you as inflation changes, the economy changes, the money goes up, things like that. Well, you're still going to get that, which is wonderful. But in addition, now you have an additional $6,000. Now, I don't know the specifics of that additional $6,000 and what it entails. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a tax guy. I'm not an accountant. But you can go to the website on the IRS and you can look at it. But I'm assuming it might be for maybe medical packages, maybe Medicare, maybe supplementals, possibly even healthcare write-offs. I don't know. I'm just speculating at this point, so I want to make that abundantly clear. But it is something to look into. And again, it's an additional $6,000. So I think that's pretty cool. And then it says, this one policy will impact voters across the entire political spectrum in having no tax for seniors. Seniors typically vote more Republican, but in recent years and elections, it's been closer to a split. This might change that. Well, let's hope it does, because I think what happens is those that are over 65, typically they do vote more Republican, but it's not like a 70-30 like it should be, or an 80-20. It's more like a 55-45 or maybe a 60-40 on a good year. And so this might change that. This might change that to a 70-30, a 75-25, an 80-20, because seniors are going to realize, and again, who votes the most in every election? It is seniors, right? The youth don't come out nearly as much as seniors do because seniors have lived. They understand. They've paid taxes. They've owned businesses. They've done investments. They understand the value of the money and the dollar. And so it's more important to them as they get older. And I think that just happens with maturity and age anyway. But this would be great if we have more seniors voting Republican, even in blue states, because now they're realizing that it's the Republicans that are stepping up and putting money in their coffers. So we'll see what happens. The other policy that could be very, very impactful is no tax on car loan interest. And again, all of these things start next week, January 1. So that's really awesome too. So let's see what this one says. Individuals may deduct interest paid on a car loan used to purchase a qualified vehicle. Now, what is a qualified vehicle? A couple things. Number one, it has to be a car that meets the eligibility criteria, meaning that the car would have to have been, the loan would have had to have been started and originated after December 31st, 2024, and the car must be for personal use only, and the car must be assembled and made in the United States of America. So again, we are rewarding people for buying vehicles that are being built here at home in the United States of America. I think this is wonderful. So then it kind of goes through a little bit more, and it says the maximum annual deduction is $10,000, and it will begin for January of 2026. In order to qualify for the deduction, the interest must be paid on a loan that originated after December 31st, 2024, and the car must be for personal use only. It cannot be a used car, so you can't have it on used cars, which makes sense, right? Obviously. And then it says the automobile's final assembly must be in America. If you combine these reforms with Trump's focus on energy prices, energy costs, lowering gas prices, lowering inflation, falling interest rates, hopefully very soon, and of course the potential tariff revenue that is still coming in, you get a recipe for economic success that could help Republicans and the rest of the country, but more importantly, help Republicans in the midterms and retain both chambers of Congress. And that is exactly what the goal has got to be. But think about this. Cars have been getting higher and higher and higher and higher and higher in cost. A lot of that had to do with these absolutely insane gas mileage requirements, right? And emissions requirements and everything else. Well, remember, one of the parts of the big, beautiful bill, they eliminated that. It's gone. There's no more of those restrictive things as far as emissions and gas and things like that. Not to mention, there's no real major incentive anymore for electric cars. I mean, yeah, they're still selling them and everything else, but they're not doing subsidies anymore, which is awesome. But these ridiculous 2030, mandated gas and fuel efficiency requirements and all that they were trying to pass, they're gone. So what does this mean? Well, it means that car prices in 2026 should start to drop increasingly. And who knows, maybe by quite a bit. I mean, we had a point between 2023 and 2024 in particular where the manufacturers were getting squeezed. So many of them were having a hard time even putting cars out, and the dealerships and their allocation for these cars was really, really low. And what was happening is that they weren't buying as many cars from the manufacturer to sell because the demand was so high. And then what happened was used cars became more prevalent. People were buying the used cars, but then the used cars started to skyrocket even higher than the brand new cars. So it was topsy-turvy. It was inside out, right? Well, I think what's going to happen now with the fact that you can write off interest now on your car loans, you don't have to worry about these insane gas requirement, guidelines and everything else. You don't have to worry about these insane emission things. And the fact that they're not pushing electric cars, guess what's going to happen, folks? Car prices are going to start to drop. And that is going to be great because as gas prices go down and people are buying more cars, consumer confidence grows. And the next thing you know, everybody is doing a lot better. So I wanted to point out some of these things because these things are very, very important. And again, they're all in the one big, beautiful bill. And look, I will admit to my audience right now, you remember me saying this, and I'm going to remind you because I want to make sure that I'm accurate as always. I was telling people, why are we throwing everything in one bill? Why don't we cut this thing down and do a bill on this and a bill on that and a bill on this and a bill on that? I was wrong, and I will admit it. I was wrong because what they were able to put into this one big, beautiful bill, and again, all of it combined, so many things got in that never probably would have gotten in individual bills. So you know what? I will admit that I was wrong on that one. And quite frankly, I'm glad I was. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Put them down in the comments below. We'll see you in the next one.